Okay, talking about static. One of the things we did here, if you recall, at the very, very top, is I made these guys static. Why? Well, because if I wanted to go here and do some input validation, I should be able to do like primary input validation, right? But I need to be able to get to that constant. So, for example, before I set, like, I don't know, I'm making this up, so just bear with me. So if I said, int hours is equal to, 42, and then I want to see if this is valid or not, I'd say if hours are less than employee dot, and see, I can get min hours or hours greater than employee dot max hour. See, I didn't have to create an instance of the class to be able to pull that off. Okay, is that making sense? So that's a good use of static. Now, I didn't make the entire class static like the example of the math class. And here I only made just a tiny little piece. Just these 4 lines are static. That's it. That's the only ones. And it's because I want you to be able to get to them from another class. The main activity class should be able to get to those things. Okay, is that making sense? Good. All right. So there's a thing on page 271. It's the encapsulation and static exercise. Please do that on your own. I'm not going to do it for you. And so I'm moving on. I'm moving on to object-oriented programming and inheritance on page 275. Okay. So I already have an employee class, and it's pretty good. It does kind of sort of what I want it to do, except it doesn't do overtime. I mean, if you go and look at the pay here, when somebody gets paid, all they get is hours times rate. That's it. There's no overtime. So I need another type of employee, an employee who gets overtime. By the way, if you ever worked in HR, there's a term for this. It's called non-exempt. That's a horrible term. Fair Labor Standards Act, non-exempt from the Fair Labor Standards Act. Trust me, you don't want to know all that crap. Okay, so I need to build me a specialized version of an employee. I'm going to leave the employee one alone. I'm just going to build a specialized version. Okay, is this making sense? So I'm going to build me yet another employee. So I'm going to do, by the way, for reasons that I'll go ahead and explain, if I'm having specialized versions and something is like a super class and then other classes inherit from it, I start them all with the same word. I don't say non-exempt employee. And the reason is these things show up in alphabetical order here in the listing, and it just makes it confusing. If I start them all with employee, then they kind of line up. I know that's a horrible, stupid thing to say. So what I want to do here is I just want to go ahead and use the extends keyword. Now, we've used this before. Extends from employee. Cool. Now, right off the bat, I don't have to change that much. But what I do have to do is I have to come in and build. When I inherit from a class, everything gets inherited to include things I cannot see. Remember those private things? Yes, they get inherited. Can I use them from inside here? No. So there's 2 questions. Does it get inherited? Yes. That private field variable got inherited. Can I talk to it? No, you may not. Okay, so everything gets inherited except for, there's only one exception of things that do not get inherited, and that is the constructors. The constructors do not get inherited. So I have to build my own. So I'm going to do a public. Remember the rule? It has to be the name of the class. Employee non-exempt. And it doesn't have anything in it, but hey, what the heck, right? I usually just put something in here as a kind of as a reminder that yes, I know there's nothing there. Okay. And then I'm going to build a parameterized constructor. So I'm going to say employee non-exempt, and I'm going to say string, dang it, first name, string, last name, string, department. Okay, so now what I want to do is I could copy absolutely everything, but that would be kind of dumb. Instead, what I want to do is I want to just pass this on to the parent class, the super class, the base class. Those are terms everyone uses. Because I want them to do the input validation. I don't want to have to write that code over again, because in theory I would have to say, well, let's make sure the first name is not empty, and let's make sure the department is valid. None of that. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to call the previous guy's constructor by just using super. First name, last name, department. Okay, so that's all I've got to do to be able to get this thing functional. I don't have to do anything here. I mean, to tell you the truth, I could call the super on this one. I just happen to know that the super doesn't do anything. In fact, what the heck, let's do that. I mean, there's no harm. Because maybe I might want to put something in there, sooner or later, right? Maybe later I might want to add something in. So I'm just going to say nothing. Cool, like that. In this case, that's kind of silly, but that's all right. So now, what else do I have to do? Well, I need to change the way the pay is calculated. So I'm just going to go here and say at override, and I'm going to say public double calc pay, which is the exact same signature as before. Let's go verify to make sure that the signature's public double calc pay. Okay, so I'm going to go here and just say, double answer is equal to 0, and I'm going to return an answer because that's just the way I start off all these guys. I want to make the red squigglies go away. Okay, so this part I didn't have much to do, and this part I didn't have much to do, and the only thing I have to do different is I need to change the way the thing is calculated on the pay to include, whether or not the person is getting overtime or not. So first of all, let's cheat, okay? And let's just start with theirs, okay? Because this part should be about the same. So I'm going to do copy. I'm going to go to my guy here and right in between these two. And right off the bat, I go, wait a minute, I can't see PFV rate or PFV hours or those guys. What's going on? I made them I made them private, remember? Now, in any other programming language other than Java, the solution would be go there and make those guys protected. But I'm not doing that here, okay? I'm not going to do that here because Java just does it in such an infuriatingly strange way. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create me a new set of variables here. Now, these are not field variables. These are just local variables, right? Okay, so I'm going to say double hours is equal to, I need to be able to talk to this guy's pay, or hours. So I'm going to say this and get hours. And then I'm going to say double rate, this get rate. Now what the heck does this mean? This is a synonym for the currently running class. So this just basically says, I want my get hours. Now, to tell you the truth, I don't have any get hours. The get hours are going to be back on that super class. Okay? So now I can get the hours and get the rate. And now it's going to be pretty easy. I can go here and change this to rate. Dang. Okay, good. Then down here I can change this to, hours and rate. Okay, so now I have to go in and do the math, okay? So I'm going to change this around a bit. I'm going to say something like, if hours is less than or equal to 40, then that's what you get. And then I'm going to do an else. And so now I'm going to say answer is equal to 40 minus hours. Okay. Well, I tell you what, let's do yeah. 40 times whatever the rate is plus 40 minus the number of hours times the rate times 1.5. Okay, is this making sense? So now, if they're under or equal to 40, they just get this normal rate. Otherwise, it's whatever their base pay is for the first 40 hours, and then for any hours over the 40, they get the rate times and a half. So see how this thing works? I have an override, so now when I calculate pay on this guy, the pay should be different. Let's go verify that it works. Okay, so I'm going to change this to 42 hours for this employee, okay? And then down here, I'm going to, I'm going to comment that out. I'm going to basically, instead of making, oh, I didn't, dang, got it, Control Z. I was just trying to put a comment there. Okay, so instead of this being an employee like that, I'm going to make this an employee exempt, non-exempt. Okay, cool. Okie dokie. So now I have an exempt employee, and I'm going to basically do the exact same thing. I'm going to do, I guess I'll do imp2 set name. I got it. Set first name. And this is going to be Jane. Set last name. Doe. Set department equals engineering. Okay. Whew. And now I'm going to copy and paste to save me some typing. Okay. I just need to change this to a 2. So one of them should get overtime and one of them should not. Let's go see if it worked. And ta-da! Whoa. Ha-ha. That's weird. I have no idea what I did wrong. But I was not expecting that to be less. I was expecting it to be more. Let me go see if I can figure out what I did. Okay, I got my math wrong here. It's supposed to be hours minus 40, not 40 minus hours. Okay, fine. Let's try that again. I got it. And ta-da! So employees pay, one of them gets overtime and one of them does not. That's basically what inheritance is all about. You see how much effort I had to put into this to make it work? It really wasn't all that much. I mean, you got to admit, this one's got an awful lot of stuff in it, okay? But this one does not. Now, I might want to dress this up a little bit by including, for example, one of the things I might want to include is this two-string guy, okay? So I want to start basically with, I just want to take this and just add something at the end that tells you what type of employee it is. That's the only task we're trying to do here. But as usual, we're coming up on the 15-minute mark.